collide. If you let me speak, I offend you. If I don't let me speak, I offend me. Raging inner chaos inside what I believe, they collide. There may be a safe way to do it all, but sharing may make my issues petty and small. Carrying this hostility within myself, knowing what needs to be done, the conflict restricts my help. Such a minute thing to be trapped on, repressing my demons. I acknowledge what needs to be done, risking it all. I share it with a special one. Your confirmation made these collisions gone. Oh, how I feel both light and delighted now. Oh, that heaviness brought upon myself. Sayonara and ciao. Performance day 1. I just realized that I really like to perform. I have always been fascinated by performance. In many of my social interaction, I try to perform something with my words and romanticize it to make the subject seem grand and deep. I love the attention too. But this built-in interject of not expressing myself has held me down. There is always this inner battle. The top dog says enforce your interject of not performing and seeming like a douchebag, while the underdog says allow myself to enjoy the performance you put on. The underdog often wins without me being concisious compared to the top dog. Not showing all of me in a performance. Where did this interject come from? How I felt a relief on my abdomen after this aha moment. Felt like I had been holding this interject inside and retroflecting it for so long, not allowing it to come out. Feels like a heavy puzzle piece taken out of my system and replaced it in the another place where the piece really belonged to. The weight of the puzzle feels a lot lighter now when it is in the right place. But beware, as this performance can outshadow the people around me taking all the attention in the room or situation. As a result, making me more alone. As I love performing and making my close ones my audience, the whole thing maybe contradict each other. This may be the line between my order and chaos for me in context to performing. This acceptance has helped me. I don't know what this feeling is, but feels a lot like love and grace. So, let's enjoy the performance between this dance of order and chaos. So, my need is to perform. Day 2. It's like 2 boxes of interjects and acceptance respectively. The puzzle piece felt heavy while being on the interject box, while it is fitting in very rightly in the acceptance box. But there is also a need for a healthy middle, where the interjects doesn't get in the way of my performance, and my performance doesn't get in the way of stealing the attention of people close to me. We tried to put things in different places to find if it fits in the right way. If the place is right, the whole picture seems more clearer.
After so many years I am staying with my family for this long time and I am having a good time with my family. In this lockdown I am so much busy in myself. I am doing nothing but just living and enjoying my own company. I am feeling this lockdown is the very good opportunity for me to have self-time. I am so much into me that even I don't want to be in contact with anyone. Despite of important calls, texts, and family, I even don't communicate with any other people. Now I am feeling so much comfortable in my self zone that I don't want to come out from this, and also wishing this lockdown to never end.
Initially, I heard the news and international spreading of corona made me sucked. As we those days only bad news, all my family, friends, and office staffs were worried. Later, time went on but corona made huge impact, and slowly my office has stopped. First weeks were later easy by spending time with my kids and family. After about 2 weeks later, we started some boredom, then we went to village of my wife's. Their first weeks were also fantastic. As time went on, lockdown increase every time. We felt sagged and had some stress, whether kids also gets or how to protect our child. During lockdown I spent every morning 2 hours for giving class to my students of bachelor. And my PhD study also continue along with my office work. Afternoon and evening time, I tried to teach my kids different things such as painting, garden work, drama, dance, singing, and writing poem. I have attached some photos also. This situation is very distressing. It has created terror in multiple aspects. I feel taking care of self is the most important aspect, and being with family and supporting each other played crucial role in well-being. I left part-time job so that there will be less chances of infection. This situation has helped us spend more time with family members. I gave time to learn my interest subjects. I became more involved with friends via social media. Lots of self-reflections happened. This situation has helped us say no. I learned to live with dignity, respect and civility. I identified my autopilot. It is not clear but little. I knew and became aware that the most of my time I used to be in autopilot mode. Just for once. Hope to identify more autopilot mode and develop more awareness. COVID-19 has rescued me in another way, though I feel distressed.
My experience during COVID-19 lockdown was not so panic. In the initial phase I was enjoying with my family. For me it was really quality time to be with family together. During this period I could learn Nwari Lipi through online course. Actually I always have wished to learn this lipi. This lipi is very old and belonged to Nwar of Nepal. The letter of this lipi is very archaeological, so I like it very much. After completed this course, I didn't have anything to do. So I just spent my time by watching television, YouTube, and doing very few online counseling. After some time I felt that I have to do some constructive work also. Then I decided to collect the experience of COVID-19 lockdown of all the members of Gestalt family to make an album for the memory. So I wrote email to the Gestalt family. But unfortunately I got very few responses. I again request to all by writing email. This time also I got disappointed. But one of my friends suggested me to go ahead with what I got till date. So I decided to make an experience album with few members of Gestalt family.
When the lockdown was announced, I was quite happy with the government's decision. I kind of knew that this lockdown would extend 2 to 3 months at least. At that time I was constantly trying to convince my family that we need to be prepared and stock food items for at least 3 months. In the beginning of lockdown I was very energetic and decided that I would catch up and finish all the books that have been filled up over the years. I thought this is the chance to finish reading all the remaining books and got so excited that I started reading 2 books simultaneously. After a few days I realized that reading 2 books is quite exhausting and confusing, so I decided to focus on 1 book at a time. I focused on Inner Engineering by Sadhguru. Every day I would set a target for myself, for example this many pages or this chapter, but I could never finish my set target. The book was a bit heavy for me, and another thing that realized about me was when I set a target for myself I would feel pressured by my own targets, and I eventually give up. After forcing myself to finish the book, I was so exhausted that I could not start reading a new book for weeks. My intervision group also helped me to manage my reading habit and share their similar experience. Since then I have been focusing on 1 book at a time and 2 chapters a day. I had recently started working as a school counselor and was instructed to design a 40-minute class for the 11th grade students. I was very excited to connect with the students and had planned my class. First 3 to 4 classes were good. It didn't go as I had planned, but was happy that at least we all got to share our lockdown experience and talk other than studies. The students from A-level and management never showed up for the class. I would wait an hour for them to log in, but nobody came. I informed the situation to the administration team, but they didn't do anything and focused more on other subjects. Since then I haven't had anything to do. Due to this, many things came in my mind which questioned my ability and especially my worth and work in the institute. I have been struggling between questions like, am I not good enough for this work, or is it because people do not give much importance to mental health? It has been 3 to 4 months since the lockdown, and I have felt very useless. from feeling relaxed in the beginning, feeling angry towards India media regarding border dispute, feeling helpless for not being able to do anything, growing interest in politics to feeling utterly useless. This lockdown has been like an emotional roller coaster for me. There have been highs and many lows, but it really helps when I have people to talk to, be it my friends, close ones, and especially Gestalt family. I would like to share my experience throughout this pandemic situation. When lockdown started, I was very scared from coronavirus. I could not sleeping at night, watching movies too much. I wanted to drink some alcohol. I wanted to meet my best friend, but not possible due to lockdown. I was suffering from pain in the heart, sometime, like to cry, feeling alone, didn't want to talk much more with my parents. Even I didn't want to watch news. After 1 month of lockdown, I could change my lifestyle. I did meditation class. I took 3 days silent meditation. Also, this helped me too much. Nowadays I am doing some workshops related to psychological issues, taking some motivation classes, attending some workshops related to my field. Nowadays I feel that during this pandemic situation, why not I used it in a fruitful way? If I use this situation and accept it in an easy way, I will do lots of things like best cooking, spend quality time with family and myself. At the end, this pandemic situation taught me that though lots of tension and crises comes up in life, we have to fight for it and just move ahead. Life is beautiful, just feel it.
Lockdown and me, I have never stayed at home in this, and it is the first time I stayed for such long time and hope for others as well around the world. The stay is different as well in this condition. I used to have only a responsibility of my baby and home before when I stay at home. At this time during lockdown, I have additional responsibility of my profession. I deal with the clients who experienced domestic violence during the lockdown. I am happy and enjoy the time with family and try to manage profession and personal time to reduce the stress. Sometimes it's so hard to manage time and draw a line between personal and professional life. Previously, I worked more in office setting with face-to-face counseling where I could easily observe the client nonverbal communication, but after lockdown I am reaching out the client through phone calls. In this situation, I deal lot of domestic violence experienced, physical, emotional and sexual abused case and deal with case having suicidal thought and suicidal attempt. In this situation, it's so hard to connect with them at the home setting virtually. This lockdown gives me time to look into myself. Last year, I faced different types of stress back to back. In this lockdown, I feel that I avoid that emotion and try to aware about that emotion and body reaction. It is so hard, but I try to let it go. I talk with my husband about how I feel due to past experience. I feel that it's an appropriate time to aware about my emotion. At the start of lockdown, I struggled to manage the time for personal and professional life. Most of time, I compare my struggle with my client and feel as I'm also one of victim. That sense of victim and stress of struggle make my emotion and body in so bad condition, and it takes few days to rejuvenate myself. I talk with my husband for the personal life for his support in the routine work, and talk with the supervisor for clear guidance about the working situation and timing for the case handling. It supported to manage both personal and professional time to minimize my stress, and I start to enjoy both personal and professional life. If I talk about my experience of this lockdown or pandemic, my experiences are changing according to the changing time. During first 2 months of lockdown was really great time for me. I enjoyed family, children, and a lot of different food eating and learning cooking. I have taken a lot of rest, my body and mind was asking me since long time. I did creative works such as gardening and paintings, my favorite work to take care of my emotional health and physical health. I managed to also make some masks to share with old people homes, family, monastery and needy ones in the first 2 weeks of lockdown. I managed to raise fund from my spiritual group to support old homes people of Lumbini district to buy their medicines during this lockdown where all bank and money transfer services was closed. And being able to be of some help made me feel I am alive. My heart was expanded from compassion, even it's not so big help but important for this time. But as the lockdown increased to the third months, I decided to give paid and volunteer online counseling services to the needy ones. That consumed my time, and also I participated in lots of psychological webinars to gather knowledge from everywhere. By the end of the third month now I am getting worried about my finance. I am paying expensive rent for my office and business. This summer was my great hope to get return of my investment, but all stopped. At the beginning, when we don't have many infected and situation was under control compared to other countries, I thought this lockdown would be only for 14 days or maximum 1 month. But 3 months is too much, and still situation is not normal, it's only loose little bit. Our unorganized government is not so serious about his people. I am anxious about the current and future uncertainty. It was nice to see all friends from Gestalt, and especially Franz and Giovanni. I was so worried about them both. It was nice to share my feeling here and also with them.
Lockdown began as my younger daughter's final exam finished, and my eldest daughter was in the middle of pre-boards. However, due to the pandemic and lockdown, all the schools were cancelled, and with offices closing down, the whole family was able to stay home. We encourage sharing of feelings, recall memorable childhood memories, engage in various activities, and play together. One of such games is Carom, which I was really bad at playing. I was so bad at it that only the striker would get in instead of the caroman, and I needed to pay a fine every time. It made all of us laugh. I was so bad that sometimes I would actually make a good score. I have since improved a little, but I still get a laugh out when I accidentally score the striker again. Sometimes we three mom and daughters draw and paint. It is a creative outlet for us to express ourselves. Sometimes all the family members sit together and watch movies which are so bad that they're hilarious. I cook frequently with my children and husband. The lockdown period provided an amazing opportunity for everyone to spend quality time with each other. Like there is the good and the bad, there is also the bad and the good. There have been wonderful moments in this time, but there have also been times of hardships. I felt anxious about the uncertainty of the length of the lockdown. It was hard to manage finances without having a job for a long time. We prioritized the basic needs like food and decreased our budget. I made 2 cups of coffee with a small coffee packet made for 1 cup. I did join a virtual mindfulness class, but after 2 very good free sessions they asked Rs 1,200 money for another session. Then I left because I couldn't afford that, thinking if I added some more money I could get a sack of rice instead, which would last more than a month for my family. I made calls from Viber, Skype, Messenger, because I had no balance in my phone. This period was also a time for self-care and healing. I tried to connect with my essence by observing the sensations and emotions I was feeling. I joined a free virtual yoga class and did guided meditation every day. I started to read books. I grew my own vegetables. I did gardening. I got involved with Nepalese psychology network for remote counseling service. It was my comeback from hibernation, where I took a break from work. I also facilitated some of growing my own vegetables artwork, the intervention mindful techniques. I also took cases and gave them psychological first aid, PFA. 3 cases, I gave them virtual counseling and TRA, tension/trauma release exercise, which was self-healing techniques. After some sessions they felt better to self-regulate and continue by themselves. They expressed their gratitude for my presence and their needs. I myself did regular TRE shaking, yoga and meditation. It gives me positive vibes that minimize my feelings of anxiousness and restlessness, as well as form a connection between mind and body. It helps me to resolve my feelings of grief, sadness, and unfinished business which were long overdue. A saying which stuck with me is, if you cannot go outside then go inside. The process of understanding oneself helps to think in a wider angle, realizing my strengths, acknowledging my weaknesses, and yet never losing hope in difficult times.
I am physically, no COVID-19, and mentally sound. Initially, I really was happy when I heard about lockdown, as I do not have to travel 2 hours from home to office and another 2 hours to travel back. My time was saved and I could give quality time to my family. During office time I have to take clients online, give training online, meeting online, and everything online. My own class of applied Buddhism is also online. I used to scold my children not to spend a lot of time on mobile phone or iPad, but nowadays I am using a computer a lot more than them. Because of this I had a subconjunctival hemorrhage in my eye in this lockdown. I had to give rest to my eyes and not to stress these poor eyes. Now, my eyes are fine as I did not stress them and have treatment for them. I am happy that I am busy, but I realized that the energy is given to all the online classes and sessions. This recent incident made me aware that I also need the energy to take care of my body as well as my heart-mind. So, I practice meditation every day for my man, and on weekends I spend time in the vegetable garden for my body.
I was wishing since years for a long holiday with lazy days, and my wish came true unexpectedly, but in some other way. It came in form of COVID-19. When the lockdown was announced from end of March, initially I was happy. But opposite to my plan about spending the days in home, it started as being anxious was one of the first thing I noticed. With the lockdown, I had a bad common cold fever, and as many symptoms match with corona, I was more and more anxious. Maybe anxiousness was induced at the time, and remained with me throughout the lockdown period, in on and off way, sometimes little longer, and sometimes for very short. I will be focusing on my awareness about my mental status, weakness/strength, and professional functioning. Personal experience would make one longer memoir, which I am not sharing here. I was of course enjoying the days in DIY activities as stone painting, planting plants, decorating pots, trying new foods to cook, etc. I even noticed sparrows started to come in terrace, which I think had stopped to be around since long. With the global pause-like situation, nature was fresher and cleaner. With the feeling of freshness around, I also felt the need to be socially responsible. With the sense of social responsibility, I started to work voluntarily in some organizations and schools talking about mental health during COVID-19. After a week, I needed to get involved in my work, one, where I was working as a consultant, and other in a school. My private patients were there, and there was also an added list of some other new patients. Most of the added new cases were severe cases, and few with suicidal tendency. When I had first session, I was aware that I suddenly used to have a headache. After second session, I was clear that I am not in condition to take new cases. I started to refer them to psychiatrist, and suggested to have medication and come for session when they feel little better. After doing that, I again felt guilty. Chain of thoughts run in my thoughts. Maybe I didn't act as a professional, maybe I couldn't make trust with them, and maybe I was not supportive towards them. I carried such guilt feelings and it was too heavy to carry. Transition of my work and role was again more energy draining. Within a day several times I needed to work on profession, and again in personal level. This swift role change was also very stressful. With the continued pressure in mind and sense of not being productive, as I needed to be, developed a sense of guilt, less motivated, frustrated and drained. There was a list of works that I started but could not complete, a research on mental health during COVID-19, article on our mental well-being post COVID-19, few proposals, some sessions on mental health requests, all were paused and somewhere in middle. I don't know, I never experienced such sense of frustration, low motivation, tired, uncreative and unproductive. Behavior-wise, I was very highly irritated even in small things. My window of tolerance looked as if it was shrinking smaller and smaller. Then I decided to be unproductive as long as I need. From my personal work, I could never cut down my work being a daughter-in-law. Hope many understand, and the only point I could cut down was my professional work. I cut down all my professional work for 2 days, then slowly started again, which was very important. I watched movies which I was wishing to watch since long, read books, did art activities, created a private zone. In a way, I did what I always ask for patients to do: self-care. We all have different size bottles of tolerance, so it is okay to be uncreative, unproductive as long as you need. Don't look on others what they have achieved or what they are doing, because you are not they, you are you.
Translated to English. I had mixed feeling at the beginning. Worried about uncertainties. In the other hand, felt happy that I get to spend time with my family. Time went by with pending chores and family time. Myself, being a professional in mental health, thought I need to do something in this area. Wrote few articles on psychological first aid and stress management. Felt less pressurized to complete works. Felt more relaxed during the lockdown. Kept myself busy, but at times felt that I am not having enough opportunity to work in my own field of mental health. Nowadays I am keeping busy in agriculture. I am giving online counseling as well. Felt lucky to be able to work in own garden and grow own fresh vegetables. Spending time with nature and plants has helped me to keep myself mentally and physically healthy.
Lockdown during this pandemic has affected us in many ways. We went through various stages of mental and physical difficulty during this period. Many of us told the story, how we were able to get through this difficult time, and we used this time to gain knowledge, learn new things, and appreciated the time given to us unknowingly so that we could spend more time with our families. At the beginning it was hard, but at the end we learned that we have to face the situation and try to make the best out of it. Needless to say, we, as the professional psychologists and therapists, are the ones who are helping the general public to cope with a situation of mental difficulties. Bravo to all of us.